Hello, everyone. This is Rhod and Dima. We're both from Russia, and we talk about Russia. And our program is called Conundrum because Russia is a bit of a conundrum. And this is the third program that we're making at the moment. And before we begin, please do not forget check out Rhod's gold research on Russian gold mining, on investment opportunities in Russian gold mining. It is very, very relevant, and I'm sure it will prove to be very profitable. So please look at the link in the description below. Today we're talking about gold. As you probably know from our previous shows, that we both know a thing or two about gold, and there were questions about gold in Russia. And gold is very, the price is growing in the past several days, so I think there is more attention towards it. So we will discuss first. I'll do a little bit of intro on retail bullion in Russia, and then Rod will pick up the thread, and we'll talk more about China and India because these three countries are they play a very important role in the world of the yellow metal. So here we go. And to kick off our conversation on gold ownership in Russia, I'd like to plagiarize my own interview published on Casey Research with Jeff Clark. Those of you who are familiar with the gold industry probably knows this name. He's been around for years. And yes, here is the Russian bullion expert Dmitry Balkovsky. And it's June 16th, 2014. And even at that time, Russia was rising to the forefront of world affairs, as well as natural resource related events. And it's still, rising to the forefront. So it's quite funny. So I've given a brief description of the Russian gold market. At the time, some things have changed. Most definitely. Yeah, I'm showing the old Soviet 50 ruble banknote here. This is the St. George gold coin, which is the standard Russian gold coin. There was a scandal at the beginning of the last decade with these red spots on it. Lots of it was, flawed in execution. It is a legitimate gold coin. It's not a fake or anything. It's just a, poor workmanship, the mint where they're made. So, let me just tell you a couple of words of what Russians buy when they want to buy bullion in coin format. They buy St. George's, basically. Now I'm looking at the website of one of the gold dealing majors in Russia, and they're selling these St. George's for 34,000 rubles. That's a club price. Standard price is 34,100 rubles. Standard quarter-ounce coins, minted in millions. You can see the year here, 18 to 22, 3 nines, purity. Just a standard coin, not really pretty, I can tell you. At the time of the interview, this was the only mass-minted Russian bullion coin available, but now, in the last year, they have grown the line of coins, so they're copying, standard Western coins now. Now we have a quarter ounce, 7.77 grams. We have 3.11 grams here, and look at the price. It's 21,000 rubles, and it's like 34, as you have seen, for a quarter ounce. So there is a huge markup on smaller coins, and they aren't really available. They've been bought out by those expecting to change them for bread and butter and gasoline when the S hits the fan. Half an ounce coins, 15.55 grams, 66,000 rubles. And there is a big one, 31.1, and it costs a stunning 165,000 rubles. That's really a lot. That's a huge markup to the spot price. But they are two not readily available. Not readily available just because, they've been all bought out. So if you want to buy bullion now, you have access to some standard Western bullion coins. See Maple Leaf and Kangaroo. Britannia and Buffalo are sold out. And you can see the price here, 133,750 rubles. Yeah, that's quite expensive by Western standards as well. And the price of buyback, 115. There is an opportunity for arbitrage, my dear friends. Check this out. Consider it. Keep it in mind. If you're coming to Russia, you can bring about 6 to 7 ounces on yourself. Every adult 18 plus, actually 16 plus, but just to be on the safe side, let's make it 18 plus, can bring 10,000 US dollars worth of gold undeclared, not a problem. And they have again these St. George's and Philharmonicers and American Eagles are not available. American Eagle, they're paying 2,000 rubles premium for the Bible. And there is a silver St. George. It's available, by the way, 2,080 rubles. As you can see, not a huge, not a lot can be bought, really. The shops are half empty. There is a huge demand. Another thing that they have done since 2014, they canceled VAT on gold bars. Russia canceled VAT on gold bars as an urgent measure in March this year, 2022. The Russian bullion legislation is completely obsolete. It is still Soviet. So basically, there are no VAT on coins. So they're sold and bought freely everywhere in Russia. But even though they canceled the 20% VAT on bullion bars, but in Russia, you're not allowed to buy and sell foreign minted or cast bullion bars. You can only deal in Russian ones, produced inside of Russia with Russian markings and all that. And you can only buy and sell them at a bank with a bullion dealing license. So there are still these restrictions, but there is now a proposal to allow Russian gold miners to sell bars and buy bars, and there is still, there are issues with huge spreads, like up to 25%. The industry is it's in the making. It's being created before our own eyes, but it's still small. It's still very indecisive, and it's going through these birth pangs that I have expected for a very, very long time, but now it's coming to be, it looks like. So this is my brief story of Russian retail bullion industry.
You know a lot more about the Russian retail side of things than I do. I'm pretty much been looking much more at India and in China. So, Dima, I know that in 2021 there was 41 tons of gold in the jewelry fabrication, as in making jewelry in Russia, which is not a huge amount. So, what would you say? Sort of is the reason for that?
Why there is not much gold being turned into jewelry in Russia?
Yeah, I mean, 41 million tons is not a huge. 41 tons is not a huge amount of gold, considering where somewhere like India or China, which are in the hundreds.
Yeah, because Russians do not see the jewelry as a tool to save money. Very few people do. Some people buy rings still, cheap rings, and they save. They do saving in this way, but very few. And Russian jewelry, there are huge markups on the price of metal, on the price of precious stones. It's not like in India where it's 2 to 3%, or in the Near East. So the main way for Russians to save, the most important bit, is real estate, apartments, buying apartments, and just keeping your money in cash, and dollar cash. Ruble cash is getting more and more popular. So yeah, it's definitely not gold, not bullion, not jewelry. So it's just a consumption item, quite expensive too. And Russia is not a very rich country. Unfortunately, we could have been.
So it's very much a cultural thing where there isn't a culture of buying a lot of jewelry like there is in India and latterly
No.
China or even the Middle East, for example, which are
No.
huge jewelry markets. And I mean, within India, for example, there just between mid-November and mid-December, there's 3.2 million weddings, and gold plays a huge part of the wedding ritual as far as Indians are concerned.
And in India, is it they keep their like financial savings in the form of jewelry, right?
Yeah, in gold and bangles and bracelets and necklaces and whatever. I mean, the annual consumption of gold in the form of jewelry in India is 600 tons.
Oh.
So if you take that in Russia, it's 41 tons for jewelry and fabrication. In India, it's 600, which is more than 10, well, it's
like 15 times
as much. Obviously, the population of India is over 1 billion, but even if you take it into account, it's 8 times bigger than the population of Russia.
Yeah. So there is more jewelry consumed per head, right?
Yes.
Than in Russia. Yeah. Well, which is a great thing. I also heard that you cannot really buy real estate in India as a saving tool because there are problems with titles on it, so you cannot really.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, with the whole of India is a well overpopulated. So a lot of people live in very small and overcrowded areas, and only the very wealthy actually own particular property, etc. So I think that's maybe got a fair bit to do with it. That gold is a way of holding on to value within India. And within the China, again, it's now developing a culture of not so much jewelry, but of bullion, of coins, etc., because its consumption is almost 1,000 tons a year.
Yeah, so more than India.
Yes, it's now more than India. And that's something that's only really developed probably over the last 25 years.
Because I remember like in 2012 or something, they were like going neck to neck, really.
Yeah.
There was a tie between China and India in terms of the volume of precious metals consumption. Now they're okay, all right. Yeah, well, China is better off than India.
I mean, obviously the per head of population, GDP, earnings per head of population, China is obviously way ahead of India, but India is catching up as a developing economy.
What about silver, by the way? Both in China and in India, is there? Do they view silver as?
I don't think they perceive it in the same way. In fact, I mean, silver is as much an industrial metal as it is a jewelry metal. I mean, silver tends to be very much fashion jewelry. Well, if you take the price, I mean, an ounce of silver is around $20 an ounce, where an ounce of gold is like 1,800, yes. 1750, 1800. Yes. So, it's very much different and probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, it makes sense. It's like everywhere, I suppose. People have lost the silver habit.
Yeah. So, but on gold, I mean, Russia being the second largest producer of gold in the world, with China obviously being the largest. And also, if you look at Australia is the third largest producer of gold. Yeah, its culture is not a gold culture. It produces gold and then obviously sells it on, which obviously is going to happen when you've got countries like India, you've got the Middle East, which is one of the largest buyers of gold, which it then sells on. These are the main merchant areas for gold. I mean, in fact, Dubai and the United Arab Emirates are one of the largest gold importers, then exporters of gold. And the vast majority of the gold that is purchased by the Emirates then is sent on to the Indian subcontinent.
Right. Yeah. Going back to our conversation like several days ago about the possibilities of Russia in the gold industry, why not be Eastern European Dubai? I mean, why not?
Yes, I mean, as we discussed before, Russia produces enough gold, plus it's got partnerships or could develop partnerships with Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, who both produce around 100 tons. So between them, you're looking at 500-600 tons gold. Which is more than enough to set up a marketplace and develop the gold situation. I mean, Russia has been talking for some time about its own brand of Urals crude. Well, it produces crude, but the two benchmark crudes are, one is Brent, which is practically non-existent anymore from the North Sea, but it's still a brand that is distinct and sold around the world as a benchmark, and as is West Texas Intermediate. Yet neither of them produce in the same volumes as Russian Urals crude.
Right.
Yeah, they could technically set up a marketplace for Russian crude and sell it as a benchmark, and the same with gold and precious metals. I mean, not just precious metals, but also with nickel and copper, where Russia is one of the world's largest producers.
Right. Yeah, and with copper, we could have teamed up with Chile or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's not a difficult situation when you're dealing with such volumes, and it's not as if it's a number of companies either. I mean, we're looking at the volumes of copper and nickel that are produced. There's only three major companies in Russia: Norilsk Nickel, the Russian Copper Company, and the United Metallurgical Company. Those three companies produce the majority of the copper and nickel in Russia, which accounts for around 15 to 16% of the world's consumption.
Yeah. No. We have impressive capacities in all kinds of natural resource fields, for sure.
Well, absolutely. And the biggest problem is the companies that are involved and the authorities are quite happy to simply export the raw materials as opposed to semi-finished raw materials. I mean, it's only recently, over the past 5 or 6, 7 years, that they've actually looked at not just selling raw materials, but semi-finished within the petrochemicals, within the distillates, etc. Where
wood, especially wood too.
Yeah, I mean, treated wood, for example. I mean, Russia has the largest forested area of anywhere in the world. It's larger than the Amazon, and managed forests and managed forestry and selling semi-finished wood as opposed to just logs.
Yeah, just logs.
But again, this is all resources that we're talking about that could actually be developed into highly profitable value-added products.
Right. No, of course. It's it's a national pain here for sure. Actually, if we return to the topic of India and China and gold, I want to ask you whether you have any data on like Chinese buy 1,000 tons of gold a year, but
the majority of that is in bullion,
right.
as small bars and coins.
But what's the proportion in like if you take the entire Chinese savings pie? What's the proportion of gold in it? What's the percentage? I wonder.
I don't actually have that figure, but I do know that it is quite a high figure, because of like everywhere else, they're worried about keeping their cash in the bank where governments can see it. Whereas if you keep something in a physical metal, it's a lot less obvious to governments and tax authorities.
Of course.
That's one of the benefits of holding things in tangibles like gold or metals is, you can see it, but they can't.
Yes, and this is a very pleasant feeling when they can't. It's
yes, of course, and also they tend not to depreciate in the same way as, and are unable to tax in the same way as they can tax currencies or bank deposits.
Right. Because the Chinese do have a lot of savings tied up in real estate.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been one of the major things that's been causing problems over the past sort of year and a half, 2 years, is that the amount of money that's gone into the real estate, which was booming. And of course, as recession hit with COVID, etc., property values plummeted.
Yes.
There are
these developers were going bankrupt and all that. Yeah,
that's correct. So real estate used to be in China considered one of the most safe investments in places like Hong Kong, Beijing, etc., and it's not considered as safe anymore, which obviously means a benefit to gold and precious metals.
Right. Okay. Because I remember I was doing a video in Russian about gold and savings in Turkey, and Turkey is a gold country too. And there were pictures of all these bazaars with gold jewelry, which is with a very small markup to the price of metal, but still Turks have $1 in gold and $10 in dollars or like euros. It's such a shame, But 2 years ago it was, Unfortunately, I wonder when will when will this picture change? Really, when people will like Martin Armstrong, we used to say like 10 years ago that the price of gold will really take off when a American retail consumer, a small consumer, will get interested finally. So, I
think it's people have been actively discouraged from holding gold as a store of value. It's almost been like a dirty word, as in you don't want to hold gold because it doesn't actually do anything. But as you and I know, if you had held on to gold from 2000, March 2000 to today, it would be worth a hell of a lot more than the gains by the S&P index or the Dow Jones.
Or if you bought Bitcoin in 2010,
yes,
unless you didn't keep it in some some dodgy place like FTX or something.
Yeah. Well, again, you don't see volatility with precious metals like gold, platinum, etc., in the same way as you do with Bitcoin or other blockchain type of investments.
Right. No, it was amazing watching this thing collapse this week.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin going to like 15,500.
Yeah.
People who bought at 69, what are they feeling?
Well, it's like everything. If you bought in the stock market at 6,000 and it went down to 4,000, you're still feeling the pain. Where I've always said that with gold, it may drop in value. I mean, this year it's dropped $200, from 1900, 1950 to
Yeah,
1750.
yeah.
But it's not going to drop that much more, if at all. And at the end of the day, most of the people who are holding gold have been holding it since it was at 3, 4, 500.
Right.
So, yeah, they're sitting on their gains, and they know, I keep using the phrase, it's a safe haven. And it's also liquid. You can always sell gold.
Very liquid everywhere.
Everywhere. Particularly the places that we talked about, like India, like Middle East, like China, Africa, wherever. There's always somebody that will pay pretty much the market value for gold. There's no depreciation on gold.
Absolutely. Go gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. What if I may ask, what are your thoughts on the gold price in 23? What do you think?
Personally, I think that the only way for gold is up. It literally, we're looking at managed carnage going on in the economies of Europe and to a limited extent America, particularly Europe. I mean, Europe is going into serious recession. There's nothing they can do about it now with the cost of energy. Industry can't afford its cost, etc. They're going into deep recession and inflation, etc. So gold can only go up.
Right.
I'm looking at early next year, gold certainly breaking through the $2,000 barrier.
Oh, good. Third time. Good. Yep. Let us hope. So we're hoping it was an interesting conversation, lots of expertise, and in a lively manner. So thank you, our dear viewers. Thank you, Rhod, for taking a part again. And we hope to see you again. And let's do not forget to subscribe and like and watch us and share us, because we want more views, right?
That's correct. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you again soon.
Okay, cheers. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.